Hey everyone, Mac is back, and today I had a request for a video about research and research for different accounts. And with those different accounts, I want to go over very briefly how much research and what research you should do for a whale account, and second of all, for a medium spender to a free-to-play. If you're not an invader, if you're not going to invade, meaning you're not going to try to save up those national location scrolls to be able to go from server to server to attack. And then the third type of account is the medium spender to the free-to-play, the actual invader, and they want to kind of keep their power low so that it doesn't cost them as many scrolls to be able to go from server to server to attack and to have a lot of fun. So let's get to it. First and foremost, if you're a whale, you're getting everything. Even if you're an invader, even if you're not, it really doesn't matter. The whales just get everything. They really do. Many of them have tier 5 already, which have just cost so many books to be able to do so. I mean, it's tens of thousands of books just to get these unlocked, and it takes forever to do so. You can see I barely have 3 here coming up on these, and then just the next one, the next upgrade here is going to cost me 77 just to level 4. So these are just increasing. It's going to be very, very difficult. So if you're a whale, you're going to have everything. Now let's talk briefly about the free-to-play to medium spenders for non-invaders, for ones that don't want to go from kingdom to kingdom and do a lot of attacks and to get their merit count up. They prefer to stay in the kingdom if they're going to fight, or fight in a lot of the different events that are going on. And the first thing that you're going to want to do for those type of, and this is starting from the very beginning of the game, is you're going to want the production tab to be maxed out except for the diamonds. You don't have to do the diamond prospecting. That's the only thing you don't have to do in there. Then you're going to max out the military. That'll get you to your tier 4s, and that's very, very important, of course. Make sure you're doing that. But all at the same time, at the beginning of the game here, you're also going to be doing your expedition pacification, because these help your account grow stronger and your alliance go stronger by killing those rebel leaders and having kind of a reduction of the motivation, or increased in motivation, but and also increasing the amount of motivation that you can get every day. So make sure you have that as best you can. Once you get the military and the tier 4s unlocked, then you want to go back and finish the expedition pacification the whole way up until you get to the level 5 rebel leaders. Finish all that off for sure. And then from there you want a little bit of a kind of a back and forth. So you're probably going to want to push for the, depending on how much you're spending on the tier 5s. So you want to, if you're going to push for the tier 5s, then the biggest thing to do first is to try to get this Ancient Foundry unlocked. So getting the Ancient Foundry unlocked and getting your Valyrian Steel pumping out, that's the first thing that you want to do. You kind of want to push for that, especially as a medium spender. After you've unlocked tier 4, this is something that I would try to push for almost right away, because tier 5 are going to be they're going to be very, very powerful. So that's something that I would look to kind of right away. And as a medium spender, you're probably going to have 2 research trees, or bars, I should say. So you could have one working on the tier 5, and then you could have one working on something else. And something else might be a combination of probably advanced military, formations, commandership, refinement, and then probably the last is going to be your great city military. So and that's going to cost you some books to be able to do that. So you're probably going to be one of your that's going to be a little bit later in the game. And when you kind of moving down towards those lower spenders and those free to play, they're going to be looking more, once they get those tier 4s unlocked, they're going to be looking to finish the expedition and pacification, and then look towards probably the advanced military to try to reduce the amount that it's going to cost to be able to make those tier 4s, because 30% reduction is quite significant to be able to make them. Or to train them. So, and then you have your formations and commandership. So the formation tab, and again, these are non-invaders, so you're going to finish the entire tree itself. But this is a good one to actually get up to probably the new procedures right there. These ones are very, very intensive. They cost a lot of resources, so it'll take you a while to get to those. But then also the refinement. You want to keep up with your refinement as well. So you don't want to have any dead, green gems in there to be able to. So you're increasing this as you go here. So you want to increase these a little bit at a time, then go down and try to get those gold or whatever they are. Maybe they're not gold, but just kind of increase them as you can. So one of your research should be on here, gradually getting this up as well. And then your commandership. So back to your commandership, you're looking at, you know, a little bit of extra stamina, little shelter capacity, which is nice too. You know, this helps kill those rebel camps. Your Iron Bank, you get a little extra investment, more motivation. So a lot of good stuff in here. And then eventually you culminate in the fervor attack at the end, 10%, and an extra Lord talent points. So that's very good as well. And then finally, once you've kind of gotten most of that all together, then you can go back and you could probably do, you know, the iron defense would be the very one, you know, the very kind of late game of it. And the reason I would do that is because of the these bowman stats here. You know, an extra 135% bow attack, you know, especially if you're defending, this bow attack is pretty good. Or if you're a pure bow player, if you're a pure bow player, then this will be something you'd want to do almost right after you get tier 4. Because if you're pure bow, this 135% across the board and all the stats of your bow stats are just absolutely phenomenal. And then I would go back to your city defense, and that's something, especially if you're not, like I said, if you're not planning on moving around and into other servers, that's really, really what I'd be looking at. And lastly, I want to talk about the free-to-play to medium spenders, but you want to keep, you're an invader. You want to keep your power low. You want to go out there and fight and go from server to server, do invasion after invasion. But so you don't want to use a lot of scrolls. Scrolls become expensive. You have to spend, you know, like 810,000 alliance coins to get one, or you're going to spend a lot of money to be able to get them. So as a free-to-play, it becomes difficult to do that. But so that's why, as a free-to-play, you definitely want to stay, you know, as low as you can with certain things. So first and foremost, talking about, you know, getting the tier 4, we know how to do that like before. Production, the military, max that out. When it comes to expedition pacification, because you have to get this up as well, you want to skip actually these rebel leaders tier 5, the level 5 rebel leaders. You don't want those because that's just extra power that you just don't need. You don't need to accumulate that at all. So then when you go to the advanced military, I would probably, looking at the end here, I'd probably go the entire way, make sure you get your tier 4 reduction, and don't get this last procedure here. It's time consuming, and it's going to cost you like probably like 1 million power or something like that. So you don't really need that. You're already going to get one of those right here in this new procedure when you upgrade this. So that's going to be your 6th deployment, and you're probably not going to have too many troops, so you're not going to have to really be able to zero out. So you won't really need that 6th deployment, or more than a 6 deployments anyway. So that's where I would kind of stand with the advanced military. Looking at formations, you know, you're probably going to get to these formations right here. I would unlock all of those, unless your bows. Again, if your bows, it's a little bit different. I'm not going to make a separate video for bows. When it comes to that, I've already actually done that, so go back and look at that. I've talked about what you need to do, especially in research. And then coming up here on these, you can actually get an extra 10% attack. I would say no to these. You're going to increase so much power by these. I wouldn't do that at all. Another procedure, so you're not getting any of these at all. They're good stats, don't get me wrong, but they're just not enough, because you're looking at 10% attack, health, and defense, not really that great. And then you're looking at looks like defense reduction, health reduction, and attack reduction. So those are good too, but just not worth the amount of power that increase that you're going to get through that as well. Commandership, you know, looking at these, you don't need it. I mean, these are fine, I guess. These are for camps, really don't need that. Iron Bank, see all this right in here. Probably don't need any of this. I wouldn't even touch this tree. You know, your fervor attack, again, those 10%, but really you can get stats other places. Lord talent points, okay, but I would recommend avoiding the commandership. Refinement, getting the whole thing. That'll be one thing right after tier 4 you're going to be getting two, because you need these. You want these pre-edited badge. You want that extra badge slot. That's just massive amount of power. Without you get a lot. It'll cost you a lot of power to be able to get to this point and upgrade it. But when you get those extra badges, those 8 extra badges on there, there's going to be no power increase there, because you're just adding those badges onto your armor, your equipment. Iron defense, you're avoiding this at all costs, except for bows, as we talked about before. The Great City military, you're not going anything, and you're not going anywhere near that at all. And the tier 5 is absolutely what you want to do. You want to make sure you get, like I said before, the Foundry first, as fast as you can, and then work your way up. So this is basically for all the accounts that I talked about free to play, low spender, medium spender, low, medium spend, or however you want to even classify those. This is for every single one of them, because there's nothing to pay in here to buy except for these, except for maybe when you're at the tier 5. When you get to the tier 5 and you want these books to be able to, to upgrade the tier 5, that's about it. Everything else is free. You're looking in the research that you want to get, upgrade. The free military here has these research books. You don't want those, and you can get them in the VIP shop for the tier 5. These books in here, the books in here are the ones you can get in the VIP shop for 5 a day, which is going to take you a long time to be able to do so. You get them in a couple events as well, so you can actually be able to upgrade this a little bit faster. But that's what you're going to do if you're if you're free to play. You obviously continue to work on the tier 5, but also continue to work on those other ones as well. But then once you get that far, stop. That's the biggest thing. Just stop doing research, because you don't want to increase your power on your account if you don't have to. So it'd be easier for you to go from server to server and do your attacks. So I hope this gave you a better idea of what to do with the research tree. And until next time, Mac out.